All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to video number 2 of our integers unit. You will find that you need your graphic organizer for a few things on this one, such as opposites and absolute value. If you see at the front of the screen, it says that our objective is that we are going to review comparing integers. That's for those of you that did not do a very good job after the first video. And we're also, as a student, you should be able to find the absolute value and opposite of a number after this terrible video. We're going to go ahead and get started. Here we go. All right, remember, integers are all the positive and negative whole numbers. There are no fractions or decimals that are integers. It's just a quick review. Okay, here we go. Okay, we look at our number line. The numbers on the left are the negative, and the numbers on the right are the positive. Okay, and there we go. When we graph them on a number line, once again, this is just a quick review. When we do graph them on a number line, we need to draw the number line first. The second thing we need to do is we need to graph an integer by drawing a dot at the point that represents the integer. For example, okay, we want to graph -6, -2, and -3. So, -6. Go ahead and draw another number line just because I can, because I like to draw number lines. So here we go, -6. Simply put a dot. We're going to put a nice red dot. Okay, next one, -2. We're going to go ahead and put -2 on that line. And my dots are not perfect, but hey, what can I say? Moving on, we also have 3. There we go. So that's plain and simple. That's all we need to do. We went ahead and plotted them. That's what it's called when you plot on a number line. Moving on. Okay, we got a couple more we're going to do. We're going to graph -7, 0, and 5. Okay, and we're also going to do the second one, which is -4, -1, and 1. If we want to go ahead and plot those on a number line, this time I'm going to use a blue dot. -7 is all the way on the left side. Go ahead and put the blue dot there. We have 0, that is also known as the origin. Don't forget that, that's really important. And we have 5. Really simple. There we go, we've plotted them. Next one, second one we need to do is plot -4. Congratulations, -4. We have -1, and we have 1. Really easy. Congratulations, you guys should all be able to do this at this point. Moving on. Okay, now, ordering from least to greatest. That's the part that's a little bit tricky. You need to know which numbers are bigger or smaller than others, so we need to order them. Okay? In order to do that, okay, here's an example. We want to order -4, 0, 5, -2, 3, and -3 from least to greatest. In order to do that, okay, we have a number line at the bottom. Okay? We're going to go ahead and plot all the points first. -4, 0, 5, -2, 3, and finally, -3. Now, if you look very closely at our graph, the least ones are on the left side and the bigger ones are on the right side. So this is the least and these are the greatest. So from least to greatest, our answer would be -4, -3, -2, 0, 3, and 5. That's our order from least to greatest. Congratulations. We're going to move on. Okay? All right. Now, let's order these ones. We have a few others. We've got 4, -2, -5, 0, 2, -1. Okay? And we also are going to order 3, 4, -2, -5, 1, and -7. In order to do that, we're simply going to plot the points. Remember, drawing a number line is always going to help you. Does it seem like a little bit more work? Yes, but you're always going to get them right. So here we go. 4, -2, -5, 0, 2, and -1. Now, which one's on the left? Obviously, -5. So that one is the first one from least to greatest, -5. Next one is -2, -1, 0, 2, and 4. Congratulations, that's least to greatest. Let's look at the second one. We have 3. We have 4, -2, -5, 1, and -7. Okay, if we're going to do from least to greatest, remember we look at the left because that's the smallest side. Go ahead, we got -7, -5, -2, 1, 3, and 4. And that is from least to greatest. Moving on. Okay? All right, now, remember, your objective for the video is that you should be able to identify the absolute value and the opposite of any number. Okay, we're going to specifically talk about integers, so we're not going to talk about fractions, we're not going to talk about decimals, just whole numbers. So, what is absolute value? Listen, on your graphic organizer, this is your definition. Absolute value is simply the distance to 0. That's all it is. The absolute value of a number is the distance to 0. Okay? Okay? Distance cannot be negative. Remember, it cannot be negative. Okay? So the absolute value can never be negative. That being said, okay, if we have 5, and please remember that for those of you that have never seen it, this symbol right here with the 2 lines, that is the absolute value symbol. Okay? So the absolute value of 5, well, on the number line, 5 is right here. How many places is that from 0? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the absolute value of 5 is 5. Okay? Listen, if we put negative 5 in here, we can go ahead and do that like it's supposed to be. Let's go over here to negative 5 and plot this one. How far away is that one from 0? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's also 5 places from 0. So the absolute value of negative 5 is also 5. And look at that one in the middle, the absolute value of 0. Well, very simply, the absolute value of 0 is just simply 0 because it is 0 positions away. Okay? All right, moving on. Okay. Here's a little video of how to do it here. You guys can see. All right, absolute value. All right, let's look at these 4 examples. We're going to evaluate the absolute value. We need to ask ourselves, how far is the number from 0? Well, simple. Negative 4. Okay, negative 4. If we had a number line, we could put these on a number line. Okay, and let's say 0 is here. Negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 4. How many places from 0 is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. What about 3? 1, 2, 3. This is 3 on our number line. How far away is that from 0? 1, 2, 3. 3 places. Notice it's always the same number, but it's positive. What about the absolute value of negative 9? Well, that is 9 places from 0, so the absolute value is 9. And in this one, this last one is a little bit more difficult. You need to treat it like it's parentheses, so you need to do the actual operation first. 8 minus 3 is 5, so we're going to need to find the absolute value of 5, which is simply 5. We did that one before. All right, let's move on. Okay, here's our next task, which is opposites. Remember, our objective was that we were supposed to be able to identify the opposite and the absolute value of a number. Opposites. Very simple. On your graphic organizer, you need to write this down. Opposites are 2 numbers that are the same distance from 0, but different signs are called. So, simple. All they do is they're 2 numbers. They have different signs. So, negative 6 and 6. Notice we use the same digit, but they have different symbols. One of them is negative and one of them is positive. Those are opposites. Okay? Let's see. We can tell they're opposites because, look, they're simply on the opposite end of a number line. They're both still 6 places away from 0, so they both have the same absolute value, but they are opposites. Okay? Now, what are the opposites here? We have 6 of them. Well, let's look at this. What's the opposite of 10? Well, the opposite of negative 10 is simply 10. Okay? The opposite of negative 35, well, that's positive 35. The opposite of 12 would be negative 12. The opposite of 100 would be negative 100. And the opposite of 1 would be negative 1. And this last one's a little tricky, the opposite of x. Well, simple. We're talking about numbers. It's negative x. Okay? So the opposite of a positive is a negative. That's all we need to really remember. And the opposite of a negative is a positive. That's all it is. Those are our 6 examples. And there we go. All right, this is the end of video 2 of our integers unit. If you need any help with absolute value or opposites, please don't hesitate to come see us. I know this is another terrible video and it went pretty fast, so if you need to review it, go ahead. If not, come back for a wonderful, wonderful workshop. And thank you for listening to your terrible teacher teach you a terrible lesson on integers. Please remember, please remember, hey, if you need any help with your worksheet, come back and get it. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful, terrible day.